What's up, y'all? Welcome to the channel. My name is Stone. I'm a licensed associate marriage and family therapist in Georgia, and I just passed my first year post-grad. There's some critical things that I learned along the way just in my first year that I wish I knew coming out of grad school. We're gonna be covering licensure, we're gonna be covering workplace, we're gonna be covering bosses, we're gonna be covering community, self-care, all those things and resources. So buckle up, get your pen and paper out, and let's get into it. First one, look for a job before graduation. I waited to look for a job until after graduation, and there's a few reasons for that. One, I was burned out, and two, I was so stacked with things to turn in and to get done and pass exams and blah, 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 to graduate that I was like too overwhelmed to look into jobs. But I wish I did that before I graduated. And you may be thinking, well, duh, of course you should do that. And to be honest, I didn't do that. And I know that a few of my other colleagues didn't do that as well. So definitely look for a job, be reaching out to practice owners and people in the community that you're going to, and see who's hiring, get a feel for the area. Okay, number two, don't take your first offer. Oh my goodness, don't take your first offer. You want to have at least 2 to 3, maybe even more jobs that are available to you to work at, so that you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. You want to kind of get the best deal. In Georgia, we're not, associates can't start their own private practice, so you have to work somewhere, which means you have minimal leverage as an associate. You have to work for somebody, and they know that. So you're gonna probably get a rough split, blah, blah, especially if you only have one option. Okay, so you're gonna end up settling for a not so great position where you're getting not good benefits and not good split, and that's not what you want. You wanna have at least 2 to 3 solid job offers, so you can kind of compare and you can kind of go into and be just, when you ask questions, go into interviews asking questions. We'll get more on that later, but don't take your first job opening. Wait, see what else is out there, see what else is available, because you don't want to be stuck at a terrible position, a terrible practice, and because they are out there. I know a lot of my colleagues, I mean, we're a year from graduation, and several of them are not at the practice that they originally started with because of this. So keep that in mind. All right, number 3, pay attention to the boss. Who is the owner of the practice? Who is running the clinic? Maybe it's the clinic director, maybe it's the owner, whoever's hiring you, whoever you're talking to. Pay attention to what type of person is that, because if they are disorganized and they're kind of just like flying by the seat of their pants, that's probably not a good practice to work at, because you're gonna quickly learn, okay, things are disorganized, things are kind of sporadic. You may have freedom, but you may have too much freedom where you're kind of just like going with the flow. You don't really know what's going on, you're just doing your thing. Meanwhile, the admin side of things is just a crap show, okay? So you wanna pay attention to the boss. A good practice owner, as far as someone to work for, is, are they organized? Are they professional? Are they on time? Do they communicate well? What does the interview process look like? Because if it's like, okay, you're a fresh graduate, you do a Zoom call or whatever, you contact them and they're like, yeah, I feel good about it, let's get you on board. I would be a little hesitant that they're that fast to hire you, because likely there's a reason why there's a job opening, because someone probably quit. If there's naturally you're gonna have high churn rates in a private practice if you have multiple clinicians, because people get their license, they move on, this, that, and the other. But if you notice that the churn rate is exceptionally high with a practice, and so-and-so just quit, I would talk to them. I'd talk to therapists who have left there, who don't work there anymore. Hey, why'd you leave? What was it like working there? Blah, blah, blah. Because you want to know, what is the practice like from the inside out? And a lot of it trickles down. One of the best advice I've ever heard in a PhD class is that pay attention to the top, whether it's, whether you're at an agency, whether you're at behavioral health, whatever you're at private practice, because whoever's at the top, everything trickles down. Oh, we're not really on time? Okay, yeah, then everybody else kind of rolls in late. Oh, we're disorganized? So-and-so's disorganized? Okay, then the rest of the crew's disorganized. That's the vibe. You want a good leader. You want somebody you can trust, who's sharp, professional, and organized. It's not just about clinical skill. Okay, ask questions during your interview. You want to have a set amount of questions that you're planning on asking everybody that you're interviewing with. What's your split? Do I get my own office? What are the benefits? Do y'all pay for trainings? When do I get paid? Oh my goodness. You want to make sure that you're getting paid on time, and the frequency of when you're getting paid is important, especially if you're working in insurances. Sometimes they take a long time to pay out. You want to know these things. What does the private pay fee look like? Do you have any say in the fee? What are the promotions? What is it like? What's the percent boost when I get my license? Questions like this, and you want to bring these things to them so they know. It adds leverage to your position, because you are coming off like, okay, you know what's out there. You can compare this. You can say, oh, okay, this practice does a 60-40 split, but y'all do 50-50. Tell me why. Like, what do you offer that's worth that 50-50? That gives you leverage. That gives you an understanding. That gives them an understanding of, okay, this person knows their stuff, and they're not just like desperate for a job. Because if you come off desperate for a therapy job, then you're probably going to end up with a rough position. Another question to ask is, what EHR system do you use, and how do you do scheduling? Do I schedule the clients? Who markets for the clients? Am I going to have to do that? Do you use Simple Practice? Do you use Therapy Notes? Those things matter a ton. So ask those questions. This is so critical. Connect with other therapists. I went to, in my grad program, it was a cohort of about 12, and we got super close. Unfortunately, they're in Tennessee. I'm in Georgia now, so I'm not really in their proximity, but I still go to them for questions. I still go to them when things happen in sessions, and of course it's HIPAA compliant, but I go to them, and it's a way to relate in a way that you don't get to relate to your family, to your friends, to people outside of the therapy field. I think we all know that this is a very specific profession, and there are many struggles that other people don't really understand. And so when you are connected to other therapists, it helps so much. I mean, I feel like I'm able to carry a lot more when I am talking to and relating to other therapists, especially pre-licensed therapists, because they know what it's like. They know the struggle. They know the financial burden. They know the supervision, the studying, all the things. So as far as self-care goes, I think this is one of the best things you can do to take care of yourself and give you that confidence to know that you're doing things right, that you're not just out there on an island doing things wrong. This right here is exactly why I'm building Cohort. It's a platform where you can get your license with your colleagues. And so you can friend other therapists that are in the same boat as you, that are chasing after licensure. You can track all your licensure steps. You can track all your hours and get your supervisor to sign off on those hours so that you know you're doing it right, and you can connect with your colleagues along the way. Because I think that's so critical. I've talked to so many pre-licensed therapists in our Facebook group, which if you're a pre-licensed therapist in Georgia, I'll drop the link to our Facebook group below. And I'll also drop the link to Cohort's waitlist below in the description. So you can pause the video right now and go click on that. It will give you all the information on Cohort, and you can sign up right there and join the movement. There's already so many. I just released the wait list, and there's already so many people that are signing up, and I think it's because it's so incredibly needed. I've gotten amazing feedback. So go do that right now. Okay, number 6, find your niche. I had to erase the rest of them. Find your niche as soon as you can. Why? Because the field is getting bigger and there's getting more resources out there, and what's going to help you stand out, especially as a pre-licensed therapist, the best thing you can do is to find what interests you, find what you're good at, and just go all in on that. You don't have to be good at everything, because that's how you get drowned out. You're not going to be able to, no one can be a master of everything, okay? So find your niche, get down to the root, and just start from there. Get the trainings early. Advertise yourself as that niche. If you specialize in grief, losing loved ones, advertise yourself as that's the primary clientele that you work with. That's a primary demographic that you work with. And so even in your pre-licensed career, you can work with those that you plan on working with in the future, and you can gain as much experience as possible. So that's why it's important. Mine is compulsive sexual behavior. That's what I'm interested in. That's what I love working with. That's what I'm best at. So I'm going all in on that. I'm going to get my CSAT. I'm getting my PhD. All my classes are kind of tailored toward that. And all the books that I read, it's how I advertise myself on Psychology Today. And that I'm getting clients who do struggle with that, and people are referring those types of clients to me, and I'm getting great experience. Do that as soon as you can, because if you advertise yourself as a master of all, you're not going to get the clientele that you want, and you're not going to stand out. So find that niche as soon as you can. Number 7, expectations. Know what to expect, okay? Because when I was starting out, I was thinking, okay, you know what? I don't know how long it's going to take me to build a caseload. I think it took me probably 4 to 5 months to get a caseload of around 17 or 18 clients, which is actually pretty good, I think. That was pretty quick. That was actually faster, maybe, than I was expecting. However, the wintertime is way more busy, at least for me, and what I've heard, the wintertime is definitely the most busy. And then when you get into the spring and summer, your clients start coming in less. Either they feel better or they're out of town, they're on vacation, and that's something that you want to prepare for. Because in the spring, I was like, okay, you know, I have a lot of clients right now. I probably need to chill out. I don't need to take any more clients because I can't really handle more than this. And then soon after the summer hit, and then people started coming in less, and before I knew it, I was like, okay, half of my caseload is not coming in every week. And so that was something that was kind of threw me off financially. So you got to set your expectations. Just know that you're not going to make that much money in pre-licensure. Also, financially, you're going to be spending money on exam prep, on supervision, on all of the other therapy things, that the random things, just random fees. If you're an AAMFT member or whatever, malpractice insurance, check if your practice if you're covered under your practice. Just random finances that you just don't expect. I really wish I knew and expected that drop off in the summer and the different times during Christmas time, those types of things, and factored that into my finances and when I was thinking, because otherwise I would have advertised myself differently and more at certain times and less at certain times in order to stay consistent. And you want to budget consistently. You don't want to budget like, okay, I made X amount of dollars this week and it was a good week. Don't expect to make that every week because it is inconsistent. Things happen, people stop coming, your clients get better hopefully, and maybe there's a pause. It's not 100% under your control, and that's okay. That's normal. It says nothing about who you are as a therapist, but that is something that you want to factor in. And you'll probably want to expect that you'll hit a point of burnout where you'll be questioning, am I doing this right? Am I a good clinician? Do I know what I'm talking about? I'm young, especially if you're working with couples, you can think, am I helping them? Do they trust me? Am I qualified? All those things are completely normal. And the burnout is completely normal. You're in this constant grind, really for years, before you can get your license and start your own private practice or do whatever it is that you want to do. It's okay. I understand. We all understand. It's a grind, and you can hang in there and just keep your nose to the grindstone and know that you're not alone and you're doing okay. All right. All right, y'all. Number 8, every session counts. Every session counts. And that's in the best way possible. You never know the good that you are doing in someone's life and how critical and how much of a pillar you are in their life, okay? And sometimes you can get caught in the motions and just caught in the grind of it all. But at the end of the day, we're working with people who struggle. And you never know the power of what one session can do. And you too. Like, I know sometimes like I can be having a rough day or I'll be super tired, it's just not feeling great. And then I have a session and I'm like, wow, that filled me up so much. And you also have sessions where you feel like you did it terrible. Like you were like, what was that session? But it ended up being so good for the client. So you trust that you are making a difference and you are developing as a clinician. Of course, you're not going to be the most seasoned veteran therapist out there. You're not going to know all the things, but you can still connect with your clients and do good work and make a difference and help them in their situations. That's what we do, and that's why we're here. So hang in there. Number 9, last but not least, track absolutely everything. You want to track everything. That means your expenses, all the subscriptions for whatever it is that you're paying for all your malpractice insurance, your prep, your exam preps, your exam fee, I'm still in school. I'm doing my PhD, so I'm tracking my miles that I'm spending. I'm staying overnight for school, and so I'm tracking my meals. I'm tracking my miles. All of your expenses, all of your supervision, you want to write off all the tools that you're doing so that when tax season comes around, you can literally just copy and paste everything that you've been tracking for the past several months. And it saves so much time, it saves so much money, and you're gonna be so glad that you did. You're gonna be able to see where you're spending, what your average monthly spending is versus your average income, so you can kind of plan on that in the future. Just know what to expect, what to pay for, what to save up for, how many. I mean, you're gonna have to pay. They say save at least 30% of your income for taxes when it rolls around. I think it's less than that for your first year because you're not making as much money realistically. And track your hours. Track your supervision hours, track your client hours. You do not want to fall behind. Put in the dates. You want to be accurate. What kind of session they were. Was it individual? I mean, this is what I do. I do individual, couple, group, and then obviously track individual supervision or dyad or group supervision. You want to have those nuances in the tracking so that you're not stressing. You can be stress-free. And this is another reason why Cohort is so great and will be so great, is because you can track your hours stress-free. You can do all the things, the date, the type of hour it is, the client hour, the supervision. You know what you have left. You know what you need to accomplish. How many hours are you averaging a week? So you can plan, okay, this is when I'm going to get my license. This is when I'm going to look for a new position or whatever, new raise. So That's why it's so important. Again, waitlist is in the description below. All right, y'all, that concludes the video. Thank y'all so much for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe. There's gonna be so many more videos like this to come, and I'd love for you to join the movement in the description below for cohort. It's gonna be awesome. And drop in the comments, what videos, what questions do you have? What would you like to see? I'm all about it. I want to support all the young therapists out there because it is a grind, and I know it. That's why I'm even creating this content, is because I want to connect with other young therapists and do this thing together. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.